Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here. Welcome to another CounterSide video. Alright, today we're going to check out the Bullets video. He made a video talking about the Awakened characters, Awakened units. I haven't reacted to it yet, haven't had time to do it on stream, so I've been busy playing a couple of other games as well. But I figured, since I have some spare time today, so let's make a separate video and talk about this a little bit because a lot of you guys have told me about regarding that video and I should check it out and give my own personal opinion on it. So let's go, we're gonna jump into it. I'll link it to you guys in the description. So this video is titled All Awakened Units Guide for CounterSide. So keep in mind, right now, Bullet, he's a KR player, right? He's a content creator for the CounterSide for the longest time ever. As you can see, we have pretty much caught up with the KR server for C server, right? The only two Awakened units that we do not have right now is going to be Awakened Karin, Awakened Karin and Awakened Ludmilla. So those are the two characters that we don't have yet. So very close right there. I mean, not counting the collab ones, right? Definitely there's some like Awakened Code Geass characters. But with that being said, hopefully I'll be able to give you guys my honest thoughts, my honest opinion regarding this particular list or tier list or how to use this Awakened units guide. So let's go. I'm gonna press play right here. Summary of all Awakened characters. Okay, so I'm glad that there's an example right there. So I'm going to move my face cam. I'm going to do something that I've never done before. I'm going to move it to the middle. Alright, because looks like there's some crucial information right there. Hopefully I am not blocking anything. So right about here seems nice, not blocking anything important. So you can see at the top, my top right, alright, it's like my left but your right. You can see PvP 3 stars, PvE 2 stars. So that's kind of a decent rating. I'm not sure. I'm going to assume this is out of 5, right? 3 stars out of 5, 2 stars out of 5 makes a lot of sense. So for PvE, she is often used to prevent enemy healing. Makes a lot of sense. Alright, I'm going to be real with you guys. Lee Jisoo is still one of the few characters, one of the few Awakened units that I have that I'm not 110. I did not 110 her because I don't think she's worth it. That's just my personal opinion. I think she's going to be really strong, but it's like as a veteran player, as someone with plenty of options, you are better off using plenty of other options. Yes, Lee Jisoo is one of the few characters that can reduce enemy healing. Now that is going to be something that's very crucial in a lot of stage for sure, but she's not the only one that's unique to that. Alright, if you guys are wondering, a lot of characters actually can reduce healing. Spyra, Rearm Titan, you guys might not know that, right? Rearm Titan, Spyra, there's a few other characters, I can't think of it, but there's quite a lot of characters that can actually reduce healing or healing reflux depending on what you're trying to get. So in terms of building her for PvE, here's one thing that I don't really like personally. I don't think a lot of players have her even because if you miss out on her during the launch of the game, right, for CounterSide, I think you just don't get her anymore, right? Like there's no way for you to get her as a free to play. You can sort of buy her from the shop, but it's so expensive, I don't think it's even worth it. So that's just my honest opinion. So if you miss out on her, I guess it's not the end of the world, but it kind of sucks. I just wish that she's tied to like a beginner mission. You know how we have this beginner mission at the left, the guide mission? She should probably be added here. They should probably add the character Lee Jisoo somewhere here so that new players will definitely have a chance to obtain her. I feel like it's quite unfair for new players to not be able to get her. That's something that I definitely feel for, especially the new players coming to the game. The FOMO is real, so there's that. But right here you can see for PvE, yeah, she can be used to prevent enemy healing, can be very, very good. So 2 star for PvE, 3 star for PvP. Okay, let's see, what's the notes for PvP right here? She's used during the week when healers are too much. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, but like I said, she's not the only option. If you are typically trying to counter healers, there's a lot of other options that you can do. But Rearm Chinatsu is going to be very annoying, I get it. Alongside with Ecolite, Sheena, Evelyn, and Claudia. Definitely those are super, super annoying. But keep in mind that 5 cost that you're using her just to counter enemy healers, it really depends, right? It depends on you don't even know who you're fighting against, but certain week I can see Rearm Chinatsu be super, super annoying. Now next up, Awaken Heal Day. Now this is my favorite. Awaken Heal Day is the first banner for a lot of server. Doesn't matter if it's global or C. PvP 2 stars, PvE 3 stars. I can totally agree with this for sure. She is only used in co-op Tyrant Gigas, using to block the ultimate. Okay, so that's how you want to use Awaken Heal Day for now. So this is something that a lot of players are shifting towards for Awaken Heal Day. Once you go into the late game, you can sort of shift her towards the skill haste, but still make sure you got the inhibitor or Gordia's kind of gear, so you get a little bit of anti-ground damage rest going on, right? Definitely something that you can consider doing, but I think not many players have such a specialized gear for her. Besides, she's not that impressive. You don't really need Awaken Heal Day nowadays, I'll be honest with you guys. A lot of the stage in PvE, you can get away with, like, Rearm Estarossa is just so good, right? And then you guys have Rearm KCBin, we got Rearm Alex. So as an Awaken unit, she was strong back then, but now all the Rearm defenders, that's like half her cost, can sort of do whatever she can do. But right here you can see using to block ultimate for this boss. I'm not familiar with co-op Tyrant Gigas. It's not available on C server yet, so there's that. I haven't tried in global, I think. So that's also one thing to consider. Okay, so in PvP it's hard to use her for sure. There are so many good defenders out these days. Yes, not just talking about Awaken right here. We are comparing also with Rearm characters and the such. So she just have way more competition, right? So let's talk about Awaken Mina. So this is something that I'm very interested to talk about, because Awaken Mina is going to be a little bit different, right? She's definitely going to suffice more in PvE than in PvP. I think she has equal value in both, alright? So right here you can see, according to this KR CounterSide content creator, PvP is 3 star, PvE is 2 star. Here's the thing, PvP, she can be used to backline the enemy, right, to try to destroy their ship and stuff. I can see that in PvE, Awaken Mina actually does a lot of damage. For those of you guys who don't know, I have experimented multiple times with this. She does more damage than Awaken Horizon in PvE. If you're looking just strictly for PvE, Awaken Mina is not a bad option at all. Yes, she's not going to be the best character or the most flexible character like Castro Xiaolin, but I still think if any situation needs it, you can try her out in a lot of stages, mainly in the inhibitor raids. She's going to carry you right there, alright? So her damage is strong, but we don't need her all that much these days. Sadly, that is also true, right? While her damage is strong, power creep is slowly creeping in, and definitely you see a lot of Rearm characters coming out recently that can do almost as much damage, if not as much damage as her. So PvP, she often has a role in destroying ships, yeah. She can cheese certain stage. She can also like try to zoop backline the enemy in PvP for sure. That's a specialty. If you are using Awaken Mina, you're using her in trying to like rush down the enemy and such, right? So other than that, if there's no incentive for you to do that, I don't think like you need her per se. I don't recommend Awaken Mina for new players actually. Now next up, let's talk about ALSY, Awaken Lee Suyan. So this one has way higher rating than I expected. I mean, no, actually that's kind of in line. 4 stars for PvP, PvE is 3 star. I can agree with this. For PvE, you can see she is used in Room 3 of the Dimension Relic Dungeon. So in case you guys are wondering, the Room 3 is the one that flying units is beneficial. Is that the one? I can't remember what Room 3 of Dimension Relic Dungeon. Oh wait, the one I was thinking is Shadow Hall. Yeah, I need to look in the Room 3 of Dimension Relic Dungeon. Yeah, I can't remember the enemies there. But definitely she's very, very good if you need to counter enemies that can only hit ground units, because she's a flying unit. So there's that. This is a very good build. You ideally want to go with skill haste. You know, something that enables her ultimate to be cast often. Obviously for PvP, if you're trying to counter Horizon or any other character specifically, she's going to shine per se. So very, very strong in PvP. Alright, if you get Awaken Lee Suyan, she's going to be probably the best character in PvP. The reason why is because the strongest character in PvP is going to be Awaken Horizon and Awaken Rosara. Both are flying units, and there's a few other flying units that she can counter. That's number 1. Number 2, she also helps you to boost your rangers, right? If you guys are not aware, she has a support skill that boosts, I think skill haste about 30% if I'm not mistaken. And also one more thing is, because she's an air unit, and sometimes, you know, enemy character can't hit air per se. You know, if you don't have anti-air, she's just there free hitting your ally, I mean your units overall. So she has a lot of value right there. Plus she's a 5 cost awakened character. Okay, so next up we are looking at awakened Yuna, PvP 3 stars and PvE 4 stars, 4 out of 5 stars. Alright, so do I agree with Awakened Yuna being 4 star? Yeah, I would say Awakened Yuna is still one of the best characters to obtain early on, because she does very decent damage. If Awakened Yuna is one of those characters that if you lack the gears, she is going to help you a lot because of her burn, right? Her burn is a fix. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's 2%. If I remember correctly, she always does 2% of burn damage as long as the... Oh, 3%. Wait. Yeah, 2%. Yuna decreases HP by 2% every second for herself and surrounding enemies. So it's always fixed. So if you lack the gears, right, this will always be good because it will always do a fixed amount of damage to burn the enemy. So you can see how this is useful in both PvE and PvP as well, depending on how you look at it. Although she can be melted easily by a lot of snipers out there. So if you are new, using her in PvP can be a little bit risky if you don't know what you're doing. So consider preventing her, you know, from dying. Put a defender in front. Make sure you guys are aware of that, right? So very useful in the beginning. I do agree. Gets underused later on. I do agree, but from time to time I still use her. In some of the some of the stages that you found for exclusive equipment, she can be useful right there per se. So I can see Awakened Yuna's value lasting for a long time. She is still one of the few characters, like I said, in the game that can burn enemy and has a fixed amount of percentage HP burn, right? Something to consider. PvP, sometimes she's not bad with Albion. Yes, she's very annoying with Albion. If you have stealth on her, she can do a lot. If enemy cannot remove buff, she can also do a lot. But like I said, gotta be careful, especially she's very, very weak against lots of snipers. Okay, Awakened Ayubin. Awakened Ayubin has fallen off, similar to Awakened Hilde. Not because he's bad right now, similar to whatever I said earlier. Rearm KCB and Rearm Alex is just so strong, alright? Also, you have a lot of other good defenders. Livia Tennis, I believe is not yet available for global, but should be coming soon per se. That one is also going to be very, very strong. A lot of good defenders just replace all of these old Awakened defenders pretty much, right? So you can see PvP 3 stars, PvE 2 stars, used by Tyrant Giga's auto team, alright, for the attack reduction. That's a good one. He still have the skill haste reduction. Also can counter tower, that's also one thing to consider. But he dies very, very fast. Evasion based units, they tend to just die extremely fast. So let's talk about Awakened Seoyun. Okay, this is something that I think a lot of people are still a big fan of. I'm not sure if the Awakened Seoyun cult is still out there, but PvP and PvE, 3 stars. Alright, so she's often used because of a high number of attacks, the wall and gigas. Okay, makes a lot of sense. Awakened Seoyun is still one of the strongest, you know, one of the strongest in terms of like in PvE. I think she's still one of the top damage dealers because she also summons the rifle. Yes, she might not do as much damage, but if you calculate her damage and her rifle's damage add up together, then she does a lot of damage. She's going to be very, very crucial in that sense. Now, you can look right here. PvP, she is used during the week when healers are too much. So I do like this approach personally. This is also my personal approach. Instead of using Awakened Lee Jisoo, which reduces enemies heal, why not use Awakened Seoyun? Awakened Seoyun has Healing Reflux, which is way better. Healing Reflux meaning that the heal converts into damage. Rather than reducing enemies heal, why not like turn the heal into damage? Sure, it doesn't last for very long. It's only available on her special skill, but it's going to be much more effective in countering a lot of supporters. I do like it way, way more. If you're trying to use her for PvP. Replacer King, man. This game, I mean, this character makes a lot of players rage quit because they cannot beat Replacer King. Look at this. PvP 5 out of 5 stars. PvE 2 stars. Totally agree with that. Alright, very, very good rating. In PvE, can be used with Blue Bridge, but you don't really use him in endgame content. Makes a lot of sense. Still one of the most broken character. Crazy character, 2 counter characters of King came out recently, which is Awakened Lyudmila. okay, which is we don't have yet. C server at least don't have yet, and global don't have yet. And then we have a rearm additive. So I'm not familiar with rearm additive as much, but definitely, even then, Replacer King is still going to be meta for a while. So if you guys care about PvP, highly recommend you guys to pull him. Now you can see for PvP and PvE, a 2-star Replacer Queen. That low of a rating. Okay, now this one is a bit too harsh. Come on. I don't think she's that bad. I feel like she should be same as Awakened Suyun. 3-star, I feel like. So PvE, we don't really use her, except for Danger Close Sword type. Okay, that's fair, because this one you need the range. She's very good in skill haste, although she does have something on the special skill that increase damage taken, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then what else does she has? PvP, people use these friends more often these days, so let's see. So in PvP, a lot of players use, let's see, Agnes, Awaken Rosaria, Awaken Amy, Rearm Mia. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? These are very, very top tier PvP character. And although I can somewhat agree with this, Replacer Queen is still... she's still pretty alright. Yeah, I can see a lot of issues with her in PvP. She's quite squishy. If you like use Kang plus a little bit of ship skill, like special skill or ultimate skill for ship skill, she dies. She dies pretty much. There's nothing much that you can use her for. It's going to be... I wouldn't say she's bad. I would say she's much more difficult to use. Like if you're new, definitely going for Castle Xiaolin or something is way more worth it, because Castle Xiaolin does more burst damage, and I believe Castle Xiaolin is probably like slightly easier to gear compared to someone like Replacer Queen, right? But I still think she has a spot. Let's see, Ministra is 4-star in PvE, 2-star in PvP. I would give her slightly higher rating. I would give her 5-star in PvE and 3-star in PvP, but that's just probably my own opinion. She's still one of the cheapest Awaken out there. 5 cost, right? In PvE, she's pretty good unit, but not a must-have these days. I guess I can agree with that, right? If you have lots of options, like here's the thing. If you have options like this guy, like me, like a lot of you guys who have been playing since day one, if you have plenty of Awaken units as your options, she's not a must-have. But I feel like as someone starting out, like I would rather recommend Ministra or Awaken Yuna as a safe option. Like they are way easier to use. Like once you get more and more Awaken, once you get more and more units, you probably can substitute them with a lot of other rearm characters, etc, right? That's something that, you know, it just happens with every game, I guess. Power creep and stuff. Okay, so in PvP, the debuffs aren't bad, but people rarely use her these days. That's also fair. You don't really see Ministra being used much. 5 costs, I would still prefer Awaken Lee Suyeon because I think she can do more. So let's talk about Awaken Amy. So you can see right here, PvP is 4-star, and then 2-star on PvE. Her damage is high, but her range is so short that she rarely uses it. Yeah, that's one of her biggest issue in PvE. Being a sniper is good and all, but her damage is really short in PvE. So she's mostly used for PvP, where you can pull the enemy characters towards you. E1, strictly a PvP unit, alright? So obviously, this pretty much summarizes the issue with PvE, right? That you cannot heal and evolve one. Not only you cannot heal, he cannot receive buffs at all, right? If he cannot be healed, but he can receive shield, he can receive like all the buffs, I think it's still fine. But because E1 is a character that cannot receive buff other than his own buff where you sacrifice some mech units, that's probably his biggest weakness in PvE, alright? So in PvP, you can use for sure, but right there you can see, Bullet did mention that there's 2 counters, which is going to be Rebecca and Awaken Jake. These 2 unit counters mech really hard. Ooh, Awaken Ju Xiyun is way higher rating than I thought. So PvP 3 stars, PvE 4 stars. I guess yeah, he's pretty good, alright. I do think Awaken Ju Xiyun is one of the few very unique characters. I think he's good, but I wouldn't recommend new players to get him, because I feel like his gear is definitely more strict. It's like, if you go for skill haste, he cannot go for a standard regular skill haste. He cannot go for the, you know, the skill haste set. You gotta make sure that he has a tanky skill haste, tanky CDR or what they call that, right? Gordia's skill haste that makes him able to sustain, and he dies very easily. He's a tank, somewhat, alright, a striker that always goes to the front line and can counter attack. but there's just not many incentive to use him ever since. Now that we have Jin Bora in C server, like I'm gonna be real with you, I almost never use Awakened Jushin anymore. His strongest suit is going to be using him in Britra raids. But yeah, that's pretty much fallen off. A lot of better characters out there, sadly. Alright, in PvP he's cool, but it's not easy to protect him. So Awakened Jushin is one of the few rare cases where if you use him, you sort of have to build a team surrounding him. Alright? That's going to be his biggest issue. You have to build a team surround him, you have to bring some healers and stuff. Unlike Awakened Horizon right here, which you can see there's a reason why she has 5 stars in PvP and 4 star in PvE. Okay, I do agree with this. Not an essential unit, but her infinite special skills are so cool. So, where does Awakened Horizon shines? She shines in the area where there's a lot of enemies. There's a lot of small enemies in PvE. She can beat them very fast. She can zoom forward and head towards the enemy. So in terms of wiping the enemies out, if you're just fighting a single target, only one boss, she's not that useful there. Alright, she's more useful in if there's a lot of small enemies, small little minions that enemies keep spawning, then she's going to be very, very strong in that particular stage, which is why she counters soldier teams very, very well in PvP as well, something that you have to be careful with. But yeah, still probably the top. White Thing 1 very powerful, but she's relatively weak now. I can see why, because her counter is mostly going to be this dude right here, Awakened Jake. Now if you guys can only pull for one Awakened Defender, I've said this before, Awakened Jake is probably the one to go for, rather than Awakened Hilda or Awakened Nayubin. So those two are a little bit outdated. Alright, very powerful against mech enemy. And the thing is, a lot of the endgame contents, alright, the harder ones that you might struggle, for example, like in Dive, in some of the Shadow Palace etc, some of the enemies there are kind of mechs. Those are a very hard one. Alright, so Awakened Jake just helps you a ton. Alright, tactical update level matters. Okay, I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware that tactical update matters for Awakened Jake. And speaking of which, now we have the strongest Awakened supporter in the game, which is Awakened Shinja. And I do think she pretty much complements a lot of other characters. She and Young Harem is going to be the best Awakened supporter, or the only two supporter that you sort of need in the game, right? Outside of Evelyn and the others. If you only need if you can only get a few of the Awakened units, I would say Awakened Shinja is going to be a few that I think is kind of future-proof. I doubt she will ever get replaced. Alright, she gives barrier, she heals a little bit, and she's just a support that specializes in a lot of places where you need a healer. She's going to be there, like Awakened Jushin and Awakened Shinja. They sort of complements each other. Very, very good in that sense. Okay, so next up we have Maestra Nikisha. Alright, so you use her on raid bosses thanks to her ultimate debuff. She's very good in PvE in some stages, but ever since I obtained Awakened Shifuyu, I almost never use her anymore. In PvP, she can be used, but keep in mind she's one of the few more expensive cost characters. She's a 7 cost as opposed to a 6 cost or 5 cost. I'm not sure if Bullet right here, did he take into consideration the cost of the Awakened units as well, right? Okay, so ultimate debuff, White Thing 2. All allies will die if you fail to block her ultimate. So something to consider. She definitely is very, very strong in PvP. But again, she's one of the few units because she's 7 cost. Again, similar to Awakened Jushin, she has the issue that you have to build a team surrounding her, which I'm not a big fan of. Next up, Awakened Maria. So PvP, PvE, 3 star, 3 star. I think she's pretty balanced. I think whatever star that Awakened Seiyun has, I would say Awakened Maria is right about there, right? So she's unique, she summons portals. It depends on whether you need it or not. In PvE, this can help you save some time. If you're trying to do raids, you have a portal, you push the enemy to the front, ally to the front, you save a couple of seconds. So that can be helpful. But in PvP, I feel like not many players use her anymore, alright? But you sort of can, if you know how to use a portal, it can basically help you in a very like cheese type of strategy for sure. Now, Curian! Ooh, Curian is such a low rating. Damn, 3 star, 3 star, same as Awakened Maria. Okay, I feel like Curian deserves a higher spot, at least for PvE. I feel like 4 star for PvE. That's what I will give him. He's a Danger Close Soprano core unit right here, apparently. Again, I haven't fought this boss yet. Very unique boss. So he's a bit more complicated, alright? In PvP, you want to go Skill Haste for sure. This is like one very staple gear that you want to go because his ultimate skill is so insane. You want him to cast his ultimate skill as often as possible. But in PvE, you kind of want to go attack speed. I've tried that before. Skill Haste, he does less damage. So in PvE, attack speed. In PvP, Skill Haste. So he's one of that few unique, I wouldn't say it's unique to him, like a lot of characters, a lot of the Awakened units suffer from this issue, right? You sort of need to have two sets of gears. But yeah, if you have the right set of gears, it's very strong. Alright, long range, high damage, hard to protect him. He's very unique, alright? Here's Curion's biggest issue. You know how some characters, they get knocked back, they get pushed back? Curion can never be pushed back. Ship skills can never knock him back. He cannot get CC, he cannot get hit stun and push back. That is his strength, but that's also his weakness, because if your defenders get pushed back, now you are in line with him, and then he can die to a lot of AoE damage, which can be a bit scary. Alright, it can be a little bit scary right there for sure in PvP. Now next up we have Awakened Sigma. Awakened Sigma is a balanced character. Again, I feel like she's not bad, alright? I don't think she's a must-have either, so I feel like I think she stays in the middle, you know, about 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10 for me. Underrated, her performance is similar to Awakened Yuna. I doubt I would use her in PvE, like there's just no reason. I wouldn't even recommend new players to get her, right, because she's mech. Like, unless you have plenty of mech gears available, like if you're a new player, probably you have more counter gears available as well. So I don't think she's someone that I would recommend per se to new players out there. But I can see like once you have more units, it's also an issue because you don't really need her as much if you have more options available to you. So she's kind of in a very messy spot meta-wise. But if you're looking for a mech character, she's fun to use, alright? Her ultimate is very strong. I do agree with that. Big AoE. Alright, this is a character that we will never get, sadly. C server, global server, will never have this character. So this is the Code Geass exclusive Awakened character. You can see slightly below Awakened Sigma. Useful in the room 2 for Relic Dimension, and her debuffs are good. Of course, she's also a mech. Alright, you can see Awakened Jig and Rebecca do counter this girl right here. Okay, so Awakened Regina, PvP 4-star, PvE 4-star. Okay, that is pretty interesting. Now that rating is something that I never expect. I was not expecting it to be that high. I feel like I would give her a slightly lesser cost just because she is 7 cost as opposed to 6 cost in terms of the Awaken, right? I think cost is also something that we have to take into calculation because cost too matters. You know, when you deploy characters, if a character has more cost, why would you use them per se? Now, she does have ability to CC the enemy. Freeze is very, very unique, right? And for challenges, yeah, I can see she's useful in certain challenges for sure. Especially in the story stage, later on it gets a little bit hard. And I can see Awakened Regina shines there per se. Alright, apparently they call her the White Things Tree. She's a ranger specialized in long term. Yep, that's something to consider as well. She's much more like longer fights than shorter fights. Now, Awakened Chifuyu. This is something that I really want to talk about. Alright, a lot of you guys have asked me for my opinion. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think she's that good. I don't know why Bullet gives her that high of a rating. Like, she has immortality, which I get, alright? I don't think she's bad either, alright? Don't get me wrong, when I say she's not good, I meant that she's not like 5-star in my opinion. I would give her probably 3.5 star, 4 star, but I wouldn't give her 5-star. Like, I get it, she has a very unique Awaken that amplifies damage by 40%. That one is good for sure. But other than that, is she that impressive overall? She has a strong body. I'm not sure what that means. High damage, okay, I can agree with that. Her damage is on par with Castrocelian, sometimes more. And even immortality and debuff skills. But you don't really need immortality in PvE though. Like, you usually have supporters supporting you. If you are dying, I think like your team something is off with your team, right? That's something that I can look at it. I'm not sure what strong body means. High HP maybe? But yeah, right here you can see apparently her rating is really high at 5 stars. She's strong in PvP, but with the release of Tempest, she's weakened a little bit. That's for PvP per se. This Tempest ship is a ship that produces Warden, alright, and then it is like a good complement with Curian. I can see that ship being annoying to her, right? She's a striker per se, 6 cost still. But yeah, I feel like this maybe Bullet is slightly biased towards her. Again, I need to test her more. Mine is still at level 108, but I feel like she's not that impressive. I wouldn't say she's bad either. I still think she's a good pickup for a lot of players. Now, Awakened Ray is the current counterpass character in C server. Alright, so I'm still debating if I want to get this character per se, but according to a lot of KR players, he's not that good. He's not that impressive. PvP, PVE, not that good overall. So apparently, if you want to use him, he's still fine. You can still build a team around him, but I don't know how many people are willing to go that far because you only get 1 copy of him. You don't have tactical update. And yeah, it's still an expensive investment if you want to get this character up to level 110. Something to consider as well because you are investing in a PvP unit. Now, Awakened Rosaria. Wow, that is impressive. Now, this is apparently even higher than Awakened Chifuyu. I'm quite surprised. PvP 5 stars, PvE 5 stars. Very interesting. So I'm going to do more in that video. I did try to use Awakened Rosaria last week, but I find it very, very hard to make her, to use her because last week we have Awakened Horizon free, Awakened Lee Suyeon is also free. That means she gets countered by a lot of air units. But you can see right here, she's the best damage dealer right now. And also she's an air unit, which makes her even stronger. Now I'm going to tell you guys why this matters on PvP shortly. But in PvE, it probably doesn't matter if you're air or ground, right? But yeah, she's one of the best Awakened Sniper. Now on PvP, why it matters is because a lot of defenders, they build anti-ground damage resistance, right? Anti-ground damage res, you have like a lot of tanks like Awakened, Jake and stuff with not 70, maybe like 60% anti-ground damage res. Now being an air unit, pretty much negates all of those anti-ground damage res, which makes her really, really strong. So a lot of air units, they are strong because of that particular reason. She's very strong, even the ban system cannot stop her. Very interesting. Alright, I'll try to see if I can do more in terms of fighting against using her in PvP. Let's see if I can do some showcase, some more in-depth showcase. Now next up we have Awakened Lyudmila. We have 5-star PvP right here, 2-star for PvE. Alright, against CO she's useful, but otherwise not so good. I can see why. Her skill pretty much is specialized to counter CO. Alright, in the PvE stage, it used to be mostly CO, but right now we are much more diversified. Alright, we have mechs, we have soldiers, we also have sometimes counters, right? So something to keep in mind. So if you pull Awakened Lyudmila, you can see she's strictly for PvP, to counter Replacer King. If you care about PvE, she is not a must-have. So maybe just skip her and get Rosaria and save for whoever that's next. So Awakened Lyudmila is going to be the next one. Next Awakened for C server. If any of you guys watching this are playing on C server, alright, keep that in mind. If you care about PvP or PvE. Now in PvP, she's going to be very strong because she counters this character right here, Replacer King. Alright, Replacer King is going to get destroyed. Replacer King's strongest counter. Now, I have no idea about this. Wow, Awakened Karin is the most recent Awakened character on KR side of things. And look at that, 5-star, 5-star, as strong as Awakened Rosaria. Okay, that is pretty impressive. That is pretty impressive. Her bulwark is of great help, has a long range and good damage and survival. Okay, I was looking at her gameplay in PvP. I didn't find her that impressive, right? But yeah, I'm quite surprised that she's actually apparently one of the top in terms of the ranger, right? Keep in mind she's a ranger, she's no longer a sniper. So she's going to replace, from what I gather, she's going to replace a lot of other Awakened rangers. Preferably, notably Awakened Maria, Awakened Seoyun, Ministra is apparently going to get replaced by Awakened Karin right here. So we'll see. Alright, I don't, C server don't have access to her yet. We'll see when she comes. She has barrier removal in PvP. That's always very useful. Soldier counter. Okay. I feel like, do we need to counter soldier? Like, why are we bullying soldiers, right? Leave them alone. She shows the most powerful figure among Awakened Rangers. Okay, so apparently she's the strongest Awakened Ranger out there. Okay, what is this? PvP. The higher the rating, the better the unit, but that's how often it's banned. Depending on the week, the perceived performance of the unit can vary greatly. So for PvE, the recommended one would be early mid PvE specialized units, and PvE specialized units, which is Awaken Jake, Awaken Shinja, and Awaken Regina. I would say, like, if any new players come and ask me what's the best character to pull for right now, the top 4 is going to be this one. Literally. Awaken Yuna, Ministra, Awaken Jake, Awaken Shinja. Awaken Shinja you might not need later on. You might not need early on because Young Harim can also sort of fit in that role, but it's good to have her in a lot of grades later on. Awaken Rosaria, Awaken Karin, Awaken Chifuyu, generally strong in all PvE, contents, right? Even if the rating is low, they are powerful units in certain contents, so be careful. Yep. Ratings are subjective. Don't rely too much on this. It's a good gauge overall. Okay, so PvE tier list. Let's discuss this a little bit. So based on what we have seen, right? Awaken Rosaria, Awaken Chifuyu, Awaken Shinja, and Awaken Karin is the top tier if you care about PvE. Now I can't speak about Awaken Karin for sure, but I can agree Awaken Shinja is going to be very solid, future-proof. Ministra is no longer up there, but still very solid in terms of on par with Awaken Jake, Awaken Yuna, and Awaken Horizon. Yeah, I can somewhat agree with this, right? The only one that I might not agree with as much is going to be Awaken Chifuyu. I feel like Awaken Chifuyu is on par on Ministra. Now, again, this is just my opinion, right? Like, this is his opinion. Tier lists are usually subjective. I might change my opinion later on once I use her more, but for now, based on most contents, it's like beatable with most characters. And I don't think it's Awaken Chifuyu being bad. I think it's a lot of the rearms are really good, right? Like, we have rearm Esterosa, we have rearm Orca, we have rearm Alex. So why would I use Awaken Chifuyu when there's so many good rearm front lines? You get what I'm saying? Like, I think if you guys have rearm Esterosa, she's like so strong, she can tank for you in a lot of PvE content, and rearm Alex, that you don't need Awaken Chifuyu as much. Yes, Awaken Chifuyu still provides that damage amplification, I can see that, but would that bring her up to SSS tier though? She's still 6 cost, right? So something to think about for sure. I think we also have to compare with the options, the other options. And also one thing I'm not too sure as well, does this list take into consideration the cost, right? Because some characters here like Ministra is 5 costs and Awaken Regina is 7 costs. Like, are we taking that into consideration or no? We're just looking at pure strength and value. But pretty much I can see and agree with most of this. I don't think Huron should be all the way here. I think Huron should be slightly higher. That's also my opinion. Same goes for Awaken Mina. I'll put Huron in S tier, Awaken Mina in S tier. Probably replace the Queen as well. And I would say the rest I can pretty much agree with. Replace the King, okay. I'll probably move Awaken Chifuyu down 1 tier. That would be my tier list. But other than that, I agree with it, at least 90% of this. So let's have a look at PvP tier list. So this is going to be very interesting. Alright, again, tier lists are subjective, so please take everything with a grain of salt, alright? It's more like individual preference, opinion, and just how we use the characters per se. I'm sure you can make a lot of the B tier characters work. So for PvP, okay, Awaken Rosaria, Awaken Karin, replace the King, makes a lot of sense. Horizon drops down a little bit. I'm not sure if Awaken Horizon drops down. Okay. So Awaken Regina, Awaken Amy, and then I'm not sure, right? I would say, like, for PvP, definitely Bullet is way more experienced, but there's also one thing to consider is he plays in a very high rank, as in like Challenger rank. Yes, Challenger rank is ideally a good gauge, but also certain things might be like specifically meta there, and they might not like to innovate or use different characters there, so certain things are much more fixed right there compared to in the, like, let's say Master or Diamond range, right? Something to consider about. Let's see, a few other things that I would change is going to be perhaps, I think this is much more, I can agree with most of the triple S and the double S here, but I will move up Awaken Jake. I think Awaken Jake is still the strongest defender, and because he counters mech, I will move him to the SS tier. And looking at the A tier, Come on, Curian is right here? I will move up Curian. I will move Curian up 1 tier because he's still like the fundamental core for the soldier teams. Although Awakened Karin did counter soldier teams, so I'm not sure if that's the reason why he's like all the way down there. And Ministra B tier? No. Sure, Ministra is not the strongest character, but I don't think she's the worst character for PvP. I'm pretty sure Ministra belongs in at least in the B tier alongside with the rest. Now again, I'm not saying that she should be SS or SSS, but I think she at least belongs with the rest of these cards, right? She at least should be on par with Awakened Yuna, Awakened Ju Shiyun, Awakened Xiuyun. I don't see how she's that bad. Alright, she's a 5 cost as well. I think cost is something that's very important in PvP. Now, if you make a PvP tier list, that is something that you have to take into consideration. Looking at the cost of the units, Replacer Queen and Ministra, I think they can belong in A tier. So yeah, other than that, I pretty much agree with 95% of it. I will move up Ministra and Replacer Queen into A tier. I will move up Awakened Jake from S into double S. Yeah, it's a very solid tier list for sure. Just outside of those things. So a big shout out to Bullet for sure. I will link it to you guys. The link should be in the description below. This is a very good video. It summarized pretty much everything, and this is just me reacting to it. And let's see how long is this. This is going to be a very long video. I think it's going to be more than 30 minutes. So if you guys have any questions, and I hope that I was able to give you guys my take or my opinion regarding this, and hopefully, you know, give you guys a little bit of knowledge on how I see things as well, because some of you guys are trying to, you know, get my opinion per se, and you know, you guys can agree or disagree, you know, feel free to do that in the comment section below. With that being said, I'm out. The video is already as long as it is. Thanks a lot for watching. If you watched till the end, let me know in the comment section as well. I'm curious how many of you guys actually watched all the way till the end. Subscribe if you guys haven't already. Give this video a like. I will link it to you guys. Go subscribe to Bullet as well if you guys haven't already. The link should be in the description. Have a nice day. Goodbye.